everybody has a different background as to what their upbringing was around money. And I think the sooner you can learn about that language that they are accustomed to and how they speak, if you can speak on that same level, they feel heard and understood.
Welcome to Head, a podcast by FS Investments, where we get personal with the people of financial services. I'm Kirsten Pickens.
And I'm Ryan Robertson. We are the co-heads of distribution at FS Investments. Today, we're excited to welcome Jackie Larson, Senior Vice President of the Westside Group at RBC Wealth Management. Jackie is a Forbes top advisor who turned a talent for connecting with people into an award-winning career in financial services. In this episode, she discusses how to find your client's money language, the way she's working to empower a new generation of women, and how she's built an impressive career on kindness and compassion. So let's get started. We're excited for you to hear our conversation today. Hi, Jackie. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to Head.
Well, thank you for having me, Ryan. I'm excited to be here today.
So I thought we would start with just what led you to financial services? What do you love about this business?
Well, that's an interesting story. I had no intention of becoming a financial advisor or even going into finance. We had a family friend that lived across the street from my best friend growing up, and I was going to be an occupational therapist. So I knew very young I wanted to help people. And so as I was waiting to get into occupational therapy school, my parents were at a cocktail party talking about my future. And this family friend was asking what I was doing. And my dad said that I was going to be an occupational therapist. And this gentleman very assertively said, I think she needs to go and visit with somebody up in the Twin Cities about becoming a financial advisor. I think she would be great for the career. And I do believe my dad's comment was, the only thing she knows about money is how to spend it. But I had done a little bit of volunteer work as an occupational therapist at the MS Achievement Center and also at the Children's Burn Unit at a hospital in Minneapolis. And I very quickly realized that even though I wanted to help people, I wasn't really able to change the outcome, right? So I realized it was a little hard on my heartstrings. And so I thought, well, what the heck? I'll go visit. And I met a lady by the name of Audrey Costello, who was at Morgan Stanley at the time, Dean Witter. And she was amazing. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to give this a whirl. And so.
And can I go back? So at the cocktail party, yeah. I'm just curious, that gentleman who said that to your father, what did he see in you that made him say that? What was it that made him go, she should go talk to so-and-so?
So it was my personality. He said she loves people. She's a good listener. She's a good talker. But I think it was just that I had always seen him bopping around my friend's yard, and we'd go over and they had a swimming pool. So we'd go into their swimming pool, and even just at family events. So I think that's what he saw. He was also in the business. So he was a branch director at the time in Rochester, Minnesota. And I think it was just the personality.
That's awesome.
We can see that.
I mean, as soon as you walked in the room, that smile lit up the whole room. So relationships and engaging right off the bat is so much of this business, don't you think?
Oh, 100%. So then fast forward, I started as a client associate. So I started, and literally my dad wasn't totally wrong when he said I just knew about money and how to spend it. So, I mean, I did a lot of studying. I got my Series 7 right away and got all the licensing, but then very quickly realized that I kind of wanted to be more in a client-facing role. Mm-hmm. So I did do a little bit of a pivot from a client associate because I realized I wanted a little bit more. And I went to American Express at the time, and I was working in their trading unit. And what that was is it was a call center, and I was really good on the phones. I mean, it was just like you were picking up the phone and talking and supporting the advisors. And that was great. But what I quickly realized there is I was missing the client interaction. Uh-huh. So
that's great. I love this. It's actually so similar to my path because I did not start in financial services nor did I want to. And then I ended up on the phones, and then I'm like, wait, I want to be in front of people. And I try to tell my kids this story all the time because I would love them to get into this side of the business. But I think what's great about your story is that there's so many paths to financial services, and an unconventional start sometimes 100%. Is actually the best way.
I totally agree.
I'm curious, just like, what do you think your maybe biggest skill set is Even the beginning, like in the very beginning, what just helped you get in front of clients?
I think obviously there's a lot of hard work, right? I think you have to have empathy. I think you need to be a fantastic listener. I think at the end of the day, though, curiosity is probably a great personality trait to have, because you have to be curious to learn the other person's story.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what this is all about. It's about people's lives, and everybody has a different background as to what their upbringing was around money. And I think the sooner you can learn about that language that they are accustomed to and how they speak, if you can speak on that same level, they feel heard and understood.
So how long did it take you after you got out of the client services to then become an advisor? What was that transition, and like what was the timeline?
Yeah, so I started in the business in 1992, aging myself. And then I went to Ameriprise in 95. And then I was there for a little over a year and a half. And in 97, I came over to RBC. So I've been with RBC for about 27 years.
Congratulations.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Great firm.
Such a good firm.
It's an amazing run. So as you're a Forbes top advisor for multiple years, and so you're sort of at the top of your industry now. But as you go back and you think about, to Kirsten's question about being either a CA or even at the call center, what was it that you learned then that helps you today? Like, I would imagine being able to make a lot of phone calls and being comfortable on the phone.
Right.
And I don't, starting in 92, maybe you were cold calling, maybe you weren't. You can tell us a little bit about that. But I would just be curious about early on some of those first steps, what you learned then that help you today.
Yeah. I think, again, it was, I felt real comfortable on the phone talking to clients. I mean, again, I didn't know a ton about stocks, bonds, analyzing stocks and bonds, but I knew that I very quickly could connect with the clients. So I kind of leaned into that connection. I also, like I said, working hard came pretty easy for me. I'm pretty disciplined. And so even with the people that I supported, I had great relationships with. And so I kind of, that whole client connection, I think, again, when I did the pivot to American Express, being away from the client didn't feel right. So I knew I needed to get back to that side of the business, right? And I had a great opportunity when I was kind of looking to get back over to that side with RBC. At the time, had a different name. It was Dane Rauscher at the time.
I remember that.
Yeah,
sure.
Not to age myself.
Great firm. I remember. Great firm.
Yeah, it's a great firm. But at that time, there was a management position that they were asking me to apply for, and then also a junior advisor role. And this opportunity in the junior advisor role was really attractive because, again, that was closer to the client, right? But if I'm being honest, I think I didn't feel that I was quite ready for that. But again, I just kind of leaned in and thought, well, if not me, who?
Yeah.
And that was 27 years later.
Can I just follow up on something that you said there? Because Kirsten and I oversee and manage a bunch of young people.
Yeah.
And you said something there that, as I said, I want to follow up on. You said you felt like you were a hard worker, or that hard work was, you were comfortable with hard work. What does hard work mean to you? Define hard work, because I think everybody has a different definition. Like, again, Kirsten and I oversee a bunch of young people, and sometimes they think hard work is showing up at 9 and leaving at 4:30.
Yeah.
So to you, and we have a great team. And we have a great team. We have a great team. But I just would love to hear what hard work is from a top advisor.
I feel like it's making sure that you're showing up genuinely and authentically and early. Sometimes it means staying late, right? And I was worried about that. I mean, because I know that when I put myself and my heart into something, I'm going all in.
Yeah.
And at the same time, I was starting to think about starting a family. So that to me was a little scary, because I kind of had thought that I was going to stay home and raise a family and then hop back into a career. So the hard work is just not being afraid to kind of dive all in, but trying to have boundaries so that if it was my days start in the office at about 7 and they still go to about 5:30 sometimes, right? But on the evenings and in the weekends, I try to reserve that for my family and friends, because I know everybody says there's no such thing as balance.
Right.
But I do think you have to have a well-defined what's important to me.
Sure.
And prioritize that.
Great.
So.
Yeah. I mean, just everything that you're saying is speaking to me because you have grit. You just have determination. I can just tell. And early on, you just said, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I want to do it. I want to have it all. But to your point, I mean, one of my favorite quotes actually by Jack Welch is, there's no such thing as balance. There's thing as choice.
Right.
And so you make 100%. Choices and you just go get it done. And I want to pivot maybe because you mentioned that you wanted to start having kids. And I want to pivot to just you can do it all mentality. Because part of the reason that Ryan and I started this podcast was to help bring diverse talent into the financial services field and especially women.
Yes.
And I think that we have a hard time finding women to come into this field still. Like we interview so many people and very few of them are women. Right. And I think it'd be awesome for you just to talk about how as a woman you can actually do this and you can have it all. I mean, maybe you can't have it all at the same time,
right?
But you can have it all. So I would love your perspective on that.
No, that's great. So at RBC, we do have a Women's Association of Financial Advisors, which we lovingly call WAFA. And the purpose of WAFA is to recruit, retain, and enhance the productivity of our women advisors. And so when I look at going into this field, I think part of it, the barrier to entry is everybody feels, maybe women, men, that they have to be really good at math.
I know.
And I think
everyone
that's
says
so interesting.
Does.
I always
it's not true.
We have a calculator.
Yes.
We have computers. They do the math.
And we have ChatGPT.
Right, exactly. But I think that the more important thing to this is it's more of like an art, right? It's more about the relationship. We can use organizations like yours to do the actual investment, right? You've got great, smart people that are telling us these are good investments, right? And so I think that if women could see the fact that this is a great career because you kind of control it, right? Nobody's telling you that you have to get in at 7 a.m. or stay till 5 p.m. You get to choose how many clients you're taking on. So again, it's that choice, right? And I think that's so important when we look at bringing women in. I think if I look at this as being an art versus the math piece of it, I think women are really good artists. I really think we're great listeners. We love a good story. We're very empathetic. We're pretty humble. And those are all great traits for a successful financial advisor. Plus, if you decide that you need to be at a child's sporting event at 4 p.m, you can do that.
Right. You have the flexibility.
Shut it down.
We do that a lot.
We do that a lot. But I think it goes back to what you said earlier, which is I kind of feel like it's a 24/7 job, but you have the flexibility to make it when you want to make that time 24/7. Because if you have the mentality of you always have to get it done, you have to work hard and you don't have to shut off, but you get the balance and you get the choice to have flexibility with your life and with your kids. What a great industry this is to be able to provide that.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
Well, let's pivot for a second because you brought up RBC and the Women's Symposium. And one of our colleagues actually got to hear you at a conference that you spoke at recently where you talked about 5 strategies for working with wealthy women. We would, well, first of all, love to hear that, but maybe that's for another day. But I'm just curious, like your thoughts around that, maybe recapping anything that is important to you from that conversation and really how you strategize for wealthy women advisors or clients.
Yeah. So that was a great event. It was an Advisor Hub event that they had in New York City at the Metropolitan Club. And I was fortunate to be on the stage with Angie O'Leary, who is the head of our wealth planning strategies area. And we were really kind of focusing on how to understand, and I alluded to this earlier, what the client's money language is. And again, I think that if we start diving into financial planning and you got to save this much and this is the rate of return we need to get, and we miss how they speak and how they think about money, we're just not going to connect with them.
Yeah.
So I think it is asking a lot of open-ended questions, really getting to understand kind of what money means to them, kind of what their upbringing with money was. That can help us kind of craft our conversation so it's much more meaningful for the client.
That's great. I'm sure you have a lot of tools and tricks on how to do that.
Yeah. We do have this. These are all the questions that we like to ask. But again, every time it's different.
Sure.
Because everybody is so different. In fact, my business partner's favorite saying is we put together this perfect financial plan. But then we know you're going to walk out that door and life's going to happen, right?
Yeah.
And, we always tell the client, call us. We'll walk alongside of you. We'll make sure that you get back on that path because we've all been there and we've all done that. And that's what we're here to do, is walk alongside you.
So you mentioned your partner. Can you tell us a little bit about your team?
Absolutely.
And 27 years at RBC, amazing career, but just tell us about your team and maybe what separates your team from others.
So I'm, of course, a little biased. I love my team. And there are 8 of us on the team. Now, in end of February, our senior financial associate, she just retired after 46 plus years at RBC. At RBC. She was amazing. And so I'm not going to lie, I was very nervous about that. But I have 2 fabulous business partners, and they're both gentlemen. And then we have another advisor that just joined our team probably about 2 years ago. We have one other senior financial associate, an investment associate, a client associate, and just recently, my oldest son just joined our practice. So that's kind of like a proud mom moment. So yeah,
that's so fun.
Yeah.
Did he always want to go into finance, or did you have to really get him there?
I really didn't. So before he went away to college, he asked if he could do an internship with my team. And I'm going to be honest with you, when he came, I was kind of like, I don't know how this is going to go. I was pleasantly surprised at how much I loved having him there. But part of it was I was wondering if he was just enjoying having breakfast, because he came in and he was like, I'm hungry, Mom. I'm like, most people eat breakfast before they come to the office. Yeah. But gladly brought him down and we got something and then we'd go to lunch. But I think what he saw is he's like, you have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one thing I would say about our team is we work really hard, but we really love what we do and we love doing it together. And that makes a huge difference. I mean, we spend a ton of time at the office, right? And a ton of time working. So you might as well love the people you work with.
100%.
And what's the dynamic with your son at work? Is it colleagues or is it mom, son?
That's a great question. So for the most part, he's pretty professional, but he still does use the word mom unless he's emailing me and then he is attaching other people to the email.
Yeah.
But it was cute. Just recently, my husband and I went on a trip to London and Paris. And right before I came into work, kind of half day, and I was leaving for the airport, and he came up and he gave me a hug and he just said, I love you, Mom. Be safe. Aww. So I was looking around to see if anybody saw that. But, I was like, this is okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, what kind of things are you doing? I'm just curious. In your office, you guys are always having fun. I bet you have so many different practices, things that you do to get the group and the team together. Anything that you can share?
We do try to do like off-site things where we all get together. So the latest one that we just did when my son Henry joined our team is we went to office golf and we just did some golfing and had some appetizers. But we do golf outings. We do happy hours every once in a while. We do a lot of client events too. We love kind of breaking bread with our clients. So That's do fantastic. That. We had a retirement party for our colleague that just retired in February. And it was amazing to me. She was blown away. She didn't want to do it. And I kept saying that our clients need it. It's kind of like that closure. They want to celebrate.
Not you.
Exactly. And she was like, I cannot believe, one, how many people showed up. I mean, it was kind of scooching around because there were so many people. But I remember towards the end of the evening, one of our clients came up and we're huggy people and we were giving hugs. And she said, I'm pretty sure this doesn't happen with all financial advisory groups, does
That's
it?
special. Yeah, that's very special.
Yeah, it makes you feel good.
Absolutely. But real quick, staying on your son, I'm curious, are you like changing communication style because of him with other clients, or like the multi-generational approach? Like TikTok is how these kids learn, and ChatGPT or Snapchat. Is there anything you're having to do differently just because of that? This younger generation, so kind of our succession plan, just put together, they're doing wealth and wisdom. And they're doing quarterly calls for that next generation of our clients, which is super cool. So they just had the first one. And I hopped on the call and I was like, just kind of eavesdropping in. But what a cool thing. I mean, and as I'm talking to clients about this, I think this is just going to kind of
gain a little momentum. But I think this is something that our clients are saying for that next generation, they want to engage their kids. They just don't know how to do it, right? And it's better for an advisor to talk to them about it versus a family member. It's kind of like if you tell your kids to do something, you can tell them a million times, and then somebody else says it and they're like, oh, I got to do this. And you're like, yeah. Say that all along. But so that's one thing that they're doing. I will say they're much better at social media than I am. I mean, clearly they're way more wicked smart than I am on technology. So I kind of lean on them for that as well. And I am dabbling a little bit with this Chat GPT because I just want to understand it. I think I was listening to a gentleman talk about it, and I really don't think that AI is going to take over a consultative or advisory role where you're about, you can't do this, right? You can't give hugs.
Yeah, exactly.
But I do think you have to embrace it because I do think it's going to make life a little easier going forward.
It's helpful.
It's totally helpful.
Exactly. So ultimately, it's just going to be an efficiency tool because I just don't think, again, this isn't my podcast, but like the reality is like you just said it, the ChatGPT or AI isn't a relationship builder. Right. It's an efficiency tool.
It is. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
So Kirsten mentioned this. We do this podcast for lots of reasons. One, we both have 3 kids, and the concept of your son now working for you is very interesting. But the other reason that we did this was just, beside talking to fascinating people like yourself, is a view into the business that maybe other financial advisors may learn from. Yeah. And so one of the things that sometimes we hit on is just this concept of prospecting.
Yes.
Growing your business.
Yes.
You don't become as successful as you have become without having a very maybe strict policy procedure around prospecting. So I'm curious, what's your strategy for bringing in new clients, or how do you prospect, or how do you even think about that?
We've been pretty fortunate. Most of our clients that we are getting are coming from our existing book of business.
Referral based.
It's all referral based.
Yeah.
We probably should get a little bit better about prospecting, but our theory is it's kind of like you do business with the people that are like you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So why not have them kind of be your prospecting? Absolutely. And I think that that's worked really well for us. We find that that's probably a better fit. Interestingly enough, I did just get a new client, a husband and wife that are absolutely lovely. And it was kind of one of those things that they kind of cold called. They looked up for an advisor in the Minnetonka office because they were on the western suburbs, and we started working together. After a couple phone calls, they came in and started bringing in assets, and they've been a fantastic client and a wonderful fit. And so that gets you thinking that there are other wonderful people out there that maybe our clients don't know, but...
and they just did that off your website?
They just did it off our website.
Wow.
Right. So that doesn't happen every day, but that was, I mean...
I looked at your website in preparation. It's a beautiful website.
Thank you.
But to pick up a new client that is a great fit is really interesting.
Yeah.
I kind of look at your website and I feel like you've incorporated fashion and finance because you guys all look good.
Thank you.
You can't ever let go of that, right?
Right.
The fashion's got to be there.
Fashion's always got to be there.
Always got to be there. So you touched on this a little bit already, but kind of going back to getting more women in the industry. Yeah. You're on the RBC Women's Advisory Board. Yes, is that right?
I am.
What is it again? WAFA?
So WAFA. I am the WAFA president.
Oh, you are?
Yes, I just became the president.
Congratulations.
Last fall.
And how many female advisors are there at RBC?
We've got about 320 women advisors at RBC. Yeah.
I mean, I shouldn't mention this, but one of my most favorite videos, Candace sent me, actually. Yeah. And it was at a women's event at RBC, and you guys were like doing a circle of a line dance.
Yeah.
Like, it was maybe last year.
Yes.
And it was a male leading the charge. Yep. And everyone's like doing a line dance.
That was probably Warren Bischoff.
Maybe it was, but I was like, I need to go to that event next year. That looks fun.
Yeah. It's, you know what? I think the beauty about WAFA and how RBC has just kind of embraced this supporting women advisors within the firm is there's mentorship, there's idea sharing, there's this support system that when you go there, it's something special, right? Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. We started doing these conferences in the home office just so we could get more people to attend. Before we were kind of going to different areas around the United States, but then we had to kind of restrict some of the numbers. So it's just been fun to see everybody get together and then the friendships that form. I mean, even at this event, I think we have 24 women advisors that are here at the Forbes event from
That's a large
all
showing.
over the United States. And I remember last year, somebody sat at our table that wasn't from RBC and she was from a different firm. And she was like, well, oh, you must all be in the same office. And we're like, no, this person's from Washington, D.C., Minneapolis, Madison, Wisconsin. And she's like, well, how do you know each other so well? But it's because of this waffle organization that we've all kind of come together and gotten to know each other.
Well, maybe one more question on that, because like I can even just speak for myself at our own women's network at FS, but you're the president of the women's network at RBC. Anything that you've done special to try to get more people involved? Like you kind of just hit on that, but I think even for other female advisors or just with whatever organization, so many organizations have women's networks.
Yeah.
And sometimes you get so busy, it's hard to attend them all. I would love to hear just like your perspective as the president of that group on how to get more women that are actually in their own organization involved with their own women's network.
Yeah. I think that it's just the engagement. I think it's reaching out to people. I mean, we do have different timely topic calls that we invite more than just the women advisors.
Mm-hmm. And that's important.
It's really important. We have wealth planning consultants that we have in our firm that's kind of that stepping stone to become an advisor, whether that be an investment associate, client associate, senior financial associate. It's kind of illuminating the path so everybody understands that there is a path, right? You don't have to know 100% about what it means to be an advisor, but we're going to kind of show you how to do that. And then there's just different events. So I'm also wear the hat as a branch director of the Minnetonka office. And so I'm tasked with recruiting advisors. And of course, I'd like to focus on women advisors. No, not at all. But so we do different events. We did a fashion event once. We did a home decor event once. And the next one coming up, we're having a life coach come in and kind of speak to this group. And it's just a networking group. So it's just trying to reach across the aisle and say, hey, come and learn a little bit more about what it means to be an advisor at RBC.
That's
we
great.
include some of these other roles within RBC so they can kind of get a little bit more exposure to the advisor.
That's awesome.
So you're wearing two hats at RBC, the financial advisor hat and a branch manager hat.
Right.
How do you think about managing the office or the branch, or when you have challenges with people in the office, like just as a manager, what are some of the things that you rely on to manage that office?
I will say I'm extremely fortunate. The office that I'm managing there's not much turnover. It's been a fantastic office, great producers, but even better human beings, right? Mm. But I kind of feel like, as in parenting too, it's kind of lead by example, right? Sure. It's not what I say, it's what I do. So if I kind of run a practice how I feel that I want to see my advisors run their practice, I think that's helpful. We do have just endless resources at RBC to kind of help the branch directors do meetings, showcase different products and services that are out there to help the advisors run their practice. So a lot of it is just kind of having an open door policy, right? Mm-hmm. So if people have questions, they know they can pop in. And so that, I think, has kind of been where I've seen people enjoying or leaning into my kind of leadership.
Yeah. So Kirsten, I oversee and manage lots of people. It just inevitably, though, you have to have tough conversations from time to time.
Yeah.
How do you handle those?
I think it's coming at it with compassion, right? Making sure that the person that you're having the tough conversation with understands that you care about them and that you're just trying to find the best outcome. So if it's somebody that's in the wrong role, that you have to kind of showcase that might not be the right role for them. And also looking at it as you're almost freeing them to do something that is a better role for them, or even just some behavior that needs to be changed a little bit. Yeah, it's not always easy conversations.
Yeah.
But, you know, I kind of feel like that's just life, right?
Yeah,
we're going to always have these conversations, and sometimes those things that challenge us a little bit more, obviously are going to make us stronger.
Absolutely.
Totally. I mean, compassion and being empathetic, like you said, just helps those hard conversations so much.
Right. And I also think too, as managers, like our colleagues or our employees, they want, if they're as good as we think they are, they want honest feedback.
Absolutely.
Or they
100%.
want to hear how they can get better. And sometimes it's our job to let them know that.
Agreed. 100%.
Yep.
Well, I have to say, I mean, her smile never came off her face once. So this has been such a fun conversation to have with you. Thank you so much for joining us. But we have one more question for you.
Sure.
Because we always like to end our podcast with the same question, which is, what advice would you give your 20-year-old self? I bet her 20-year-old self was a lot of fun. Because you're still a lot of fun.
There's a lot of fun. I pride myself saying that my superpower is kindness. The one thing I would say is that inner voice, the way that I talk to myself, just be a little bit more kind to yourself.
That's such a good point. Very good advice.
Jackie, you were a pleasure to talk to. Thank you so much for joining us on Head to Head.
Thanks, Jackie.
Ryan. Thank you, Kirsten.
Thanks.
To get the latest episodes as soon as they're available, be sure to subscribe to the Fireside Podcast.
For more on this episode, visit www.fsinvestments.com/head-to-head. This episode was edited and engineered by Aaron Sherman. Video was produced by Melissa Venditti and copy provided by Harrison Beck. Special thanks to show coordinators Laura Coleman and Ellie Zhang. Thanks for listening.